Greetings, my friends. Sit ye down, and hear tales of the past, told by the ancient flame. There are many tellings of these stories. This one's mine. The 5 extra days of Thoth. In the first age of the world, when the earth was young and the heavens were newly made, the great god Ra sat upon his throne as king of gods and of men. The light of his glory filled all things, and the seasons moved according to his word. In those days, Nut, lady of the sky, arched her body across the world, and her husband Geb, lord of the earth, lay beneath her. They loved one another with deep and unending devotion, and the world lay between them, warm and fertile. But Ra gazed upon Nut with troubled eyes, for he saw a vision of what was to come. From Nut would be born children mightier than any who had walked the earth, gods of power and of destiny. Ra feared that among them would rise one who might challenge his rule, for the throne of the heavens must remain his alone. In the creation of all things, Ra had called forth Shu, god of air, and commanded him to separate Nut from Geb. Shu rose between them and lifted Nut high above the sky, so that the sky arched vast and distant, and the earth lay far below. Thus were sky and earth parted, and day and night could come into being. Yet Ra's fear still remained, and his heart grew stern. He declared before all the gathered gods, "Let it be decreed, Nut shall bear no child upon any day of the year, not in the month of sowing, nor the month of harvest, nor when the Nile rises, nor when the fields are dry. There shall be no day allotted to the birth of her children." And so the year was sealed into 360 days, perfect and unbroken, with no hour unclaimed, and no space beyond Ra's decree. Nut heard the judgment, and though her face was calm as starlight, sorrow and longing moved within her like a hidden tide. For within her was the seed of beings yet to come, Osiris and Isis, Set and Nephthys, yet she could bring forth none of them. Geb too mourned in silence, and the earth trembled beneath his grief. The gods looked upon Nut, radiant and sorrowing, but none dared speak against Ra's word. For what is uttered by the sun god is bound into the fabric of the world itself. But far away, Thoth, lord of knowledge and keeper of divine measure, watched and understood. He saw the sorrow of Nut and the fear of Ra, and within him stirred a thought both subtle and bold. For though no child could be born upon any day of the year, there were ways to shape time itself, if one possessed wisdom enough to bend the boundaries of the world. Thus the seed of his great act was planted. Now Nut remained high in the heavens, her stars shimmering like tears across the night. The decree of Ra laid upon her like iron, yet the longing to bring forth her children stirred within her, as surely as the tides flow to the moon. It was Thoth, wise amongst the gods, that stepped forth from his house of writing and of thought. He journeyed to the moon, whose pale light shines not with the fire of Ra, but with a gentle radiance. In those days the moon was full in glory, bright as a silver shield, and its light measured the months, as Ra's light measured the days. Thoth spoke to the moon god Khonshu, saying, "O being of night, whose cool light soothes the eyes of the weary, lend me a portion of your radiance, that the balance of heaven may be restored." But the moon answered, "What I possess was given to me in measure, and I may not diminish myself without cause." So Thoth, master of cunning and of divine games, proposed a contest. It was said in those days the gods often played a game called Senate, the game of passage and fate, where the movements of the pieces reflected the movement of souls. Thoth challenged Khonshu to such a game, and they set themselves upon a board of stars. The moves were subtle, the play deep, and the contest long, for neither wished to yield. Yet Thoth was the god of strategy, knowledge, and by divine skill, reason, and a little bit of magical cheating, he prevailed. The moon, bound by divine oath, offered the agreed-upon price. Thus Thoth won from the moon a tiny measure of light, a portion not great enough to unbalance the heavens, yet enough to shape what had never been before. With this light, Thoth fashioned 5 new days, days outside the count of the year, days unbound by Ra's decree. They did not belong to the 360 days that Ra had made, and so no law forbade Nut from bringing her children forth on those days. When the time came, as the heavens turned and the new-made days dawned, Nut cried out with joy, and her children entered the world. On the first of 5, Osiris was born, the lord of life and green glowing things. On the second, Isis, wise, faithful, cunning, the mistress of enchantments and the consort of Osiris. On the third, Set, whose storms and strength are as wild as the desert itself. On the fourth, Nephthys, consort of Set, whose wings shadow the coming of night and the silence of the tomb. And on the 5th, Nut realized what she had done, and worried what form the wrath of Ra would take. But no wrath ever came. Ra was uneasy with what had transpired, but he was not vindictive. Nut and Thoth had circumvented his decree, and they had not broken it, and as such no wrath was deserved. Thus the children destined to shape the fates of gods and of men came into being, and the heavens and the earth were forever changed, for time itself had been stretched beyond its first making, and a new destiny had entered the world. Was Thoth correct in his doings? Should Ra have been more careful in his decree? These are questions I will leave to you, as for now I grow weary, and bid you good night.